Here's the second poem from the exam. It's Ispahan Carpet by Elizabeth Burge. So in this poem, we have a speaker who is viewing something. My sense is the speaker is visiting a place where people are making carpets. Why do I think the person is a visitor? Well, there's this line right here. 100 to the square centimeter, says the guide proudly. So my sense is that these people have been invited by a guide to see what's going on in this place where carpets are made. And there's a lot of, we talk about mood and tone here. So the speaker, to me, I hear a tone of sadness, maybe a little bit of confusion or anger or frustration with the fact that you have people who are, especially very young people, who are working here. So let's have a look at it. Rough timber gallows on which the carpets are woven by a silent, sallow, dark-eyed Persian family fills the room. So the gallows fills the room. Well, a gallows, as we know from our note down here, gallows, that's what people are hanging, and here the gallows is compared to a loom. So this is an instrument of death. It's a fairly heavy-handed image that we're using here. So who are these people who are working? Well, we find here that these people working are 8-year-old girls. So this section here that describes these girls is a little bit disconcerting as well. 8-year-old girls sit sparrowed on a plank, rope rising with a pattern, their unsupported bird bones bent like old women. Only such little fingers, following the guides of colored wool upon the warp left by their aunts and sisters, can tie such exquisitely minute knots. Well, several things here. One, 8-year-old girls are working. Two, they have unsupported bird bones and they're bent like old women. I think this bird bones bent like old women, this plosive B sound that gets repeated emphasizes this idea that they are bent over like old women. And then they work so well because they have tiny fingers. Why are their fingers so small? Because they're so young. And that this is a tradition. So they are following the guides of colored wool upon the warp left by their aunts and sisters. So this is a tradition, and I think it's a rather grim tradition. So what other things do we have that have this grim set of contrasts? Well, so we've got the gallows that fills the room, and then we've got the room. And the description of the room is here. The room is bare, but for blackened pots and jars. There's that B sound again. Bare, but for blackened pots and jars in the cavernous hearth. So they've got some pots and jars in the hearth, I guess. They're cooking food there. There's a flickering fire that lights sensuous jeweled arabesques shadowing the makers of the webs. Well, what are these jeweled arabesques? We know here that these are elaborative decorative markings. Jeweled, I'm not sure, the fire lights on these things and shadows the makers of the webs. I guess there's perhaps some kind of decoration in the room. After all, this is a place where tourists are coming in to see what's happening. So perhaps they've got some decorations going on here. This is my guess. So we've got a very dark environment. We've got these children working. And then we get this turn here. And the speaker shifts. So, following the guides of colored wool upon the warp left by their aunts and sisters can tie such exquisitely minute knots. And then we've got the guide speaking up. The guide says 100 to the square centimeter, says the guide proudly, for the most desired Tabriz and Karman Shah. So these are two very high quality rugs that they're talking about. And then we've got another turn. So all of a sudden, our speaker, who previously was just describing the scene, now is becoming thoughtful. And we've got, as many of you noted, this series of anaphora, 100 knots in the space of my thumbnail, 100 heartbeats of a young child's growing, 100 hours for the space a foot will crush down. So I'm seeing this as a reflection or as a meditation on how much work and how much time of these children's lives is going in to this carpet that people are just going to walk on. And then we've got this apostrophe here. Oh, eyes whose horizon is the carpet and its traditional beauty. I think this is a fascinating idea here. Oh, eyes whose whole horizon is the carpet. I mean, when we think back to like A Thousand Splendid Suns, when Marian walked into the house and the only thing that we see her looking at are the things below her, especially the carpet. If your horizon is a carpet, you're not looking out to any horizon, you're looking down. So I think that's a really interesting concept. And then we've got also this, clearly we've got an alliterative sound, the alliterative H sound, but it's not really a sound even. Whole horizon. It's this non-sounding alliteration, whole horizon. And it also begins here with this O. But we also have this word whole. Whole, if you take away the W, which doesn't really make any sound anyway, a hole is something that you dig into the ground. So we can look at the whole horizon as a carpet, something that you're looking down at, or you can look at the whole horizon as like a horizon that's really encompassed in a hole. So the people who work in this thing have a horizon that is incredibly limited. And I think this is really remarkable here. I think it also refers to the speaker, like the speaker herself or himself, the speaker who is viewing this thing. The tourists in the room, they perhaps only see the carpet and don't imagine the lives of the people who are making it. And then we've got this rhetorical question. Who can unravel the world's weaving? Well, if the world has woven us a place where 8-year-old girls are providing labor so that those of us who are rich can walk on a carpet with 100 knots per square centimeter, is that justified? And then we've got these two lines at the very end that conclude it. My swollen hand is gentle on the green stick shoulder. Her large eyes look back at me with a speaking darkness. So I think this ending, the tourist actually touches one of the people who works there and then is viewed in return. And I think the speaker seems to sees these large black eyes, but sees these black eyes that are speaking darkness, that perhaps don't see very much of a future. So that's what I see going on in this poem. I really enjoy it, although it definitely has a lot of sadness too. Anyway, I hope you liked it.